How is forensic evidence successfully admitted in court? Imagine a puzzle where each piece must fit perfectly to reveal the full picture. In court, forensic evidence is like that puzzle piece, but only if it passes certain tests. The process of getting forensic evidence into court is detailed and careful to make sure it's trustworthy. First, the evidence must be authenticated. That means showing it is real and hasn't been changed or tampered with. Usually, this involves testimony from someone who collected or handled the evidence, explaining how they did it. They also create a chain of custody, which is a record showing every person who touched the evidence, when, and where. This chain proves the evidence hasn't been contaminated or altered since collection. Next, the evidence must be relevant. It needs to connect logically to an important fact in the case. For example, a fingerprint found at the scene must relate to the person on trial. Then, the evidence must be reliable and scientifically valid. Courts often use standards like the Frye standard, which asks if the scientific method used is generally accepted by experts. Some courts also use the Daubert standard, which looks at how the evidence was tested, reviewed by peers, and whether it has a low error rate. This step makes sure only solid scientific evidence is admitted. Before the evidence can be shown to the judge or jury, the person presenting it must establish foundational facts. This involves asking witnesses, often forensic experts or law enforcement officers, questions about how the evidence was collected, stored, and analyzed. These facts help the court understand the background and handling of the evidence. Then, forensic experts usually testify in court. They explain what the evidence is, how they tested it, and what their findings mean. Their explanations help the judge and jury understand complex scientific details. The reports and documents created by these experts are also submitted as evidence. But courts sometimes debate whether the defendant has the right to confront the analyst who made the report. Supreme Court rulings emphasize that cross-examination of forensic analysts is important to protect the defendant's rights. Finally, both sides can challenge the evidence's admissibility. Defense attorneys might argue it was collected improperly or isn't reliable enough. The judge then decides if the evidence meets all legal standards and can be used in the case. In short, forensic evidence gets into court when it's shown to be authentic, relevant, and scientifically sound through proper documentation, expert testimony, and legal checks. This process helps ensure only trustworthy evidence influences the verdict, making the trial fair and accurate.